Minister of Justice brings clarity to statements made by the NAPB Union. Minister of Health gives updates on the COVID-19 vaccination rollout. And Prime Minister of St. Martin updates reporters on the steering committee meeting. Those are the headlines for Wednesday, March the 10th, 2021. Good evening, viewers. This is SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie from Twitter. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. And as usual, we have a full newscast for you prepared, so let's get started. In our first story, Prime Minister of St. Martin, the Honorable Sylvania Jacobs, gave an update earlier today at the Council of Ministers' weekly press briefing on the steering committee meeting, which was held on Friday last March the 5th with the Minister of Finance. It was a virtual high-level meeting whereby the sustainability projects that are critical to St. Martin's development was discussed.
The steering committee met on Friday, March 5th. This was a virtual high-level meeting together with the Minister of Finance, Minister Irion, the steering committee of St. Martin Recovery and Resilience Trust Fund, as well as State Secretary Knops from the Netherlands, BZK. And the World Bank, of course, Ms. Tassin Sayed, as well as the other steering committee members were in the meeting. The meeting was supported by the NRPB, and it was focused on the sustainability projects that are critical for St. Martin's development, for the implementation of timelines, ensuring human capacity is available, as well as funding. This was the main takeaway for me in saying a few words in the meeting before allowing the technical part to continue. During the meeting, it was also agreed that the reconstruction of the airport is a critical one for St. Martin, as well as, of course, the getting moving on the necessary steps that need to be taken to remediate our dump, the EDMP and waste management. As such, the government reiterated our commitment also with the decisions we'd made that week in the Council of Ministers to ensure that the appropriate conditions for reconstruction would continue, as well as enabling and upholding good governance across the board. The Council of Ministers also approved a brand new roadmap for the realization of the emergency debris management project. So I look forward to being updated and ensuring that we are closely monitoring all actions that St. Martin has to take to ensure that the projects can continue to move forward and in fact accelerate. I also like to update the general public on meetings that were held last week between our organization, so government's organization, and the TWO, which is the temporary work organization for the coming to agreements on the implementation package. The meetings were held right here in St. Martin. Two of the representatives from BZK were here, the project manager as well as an advisor, and they met with our organization, which is the SG platform, all of the SGs of government, as well as the key personnel within each ministry working on the measures or the objectives related to the measures that we have agreed to, which I presented in Parliament a couple of weeks ago. We hope to have, I believe that from all aspects, I was also updated by the monitoring committee earlier this week, and I was able to get a good impression of the meetings held. We hope to have the implementation document ready for public consumption before the deadline of the end of the month to have it established on time for April 1st. So this week, hopefully, the SG platform will have their final go at it. Their meetings are usually on Wednesdays. Thereafter, it will come to the Council of Ministers and then be forwarded on for further approvals, etc., so that we can achieve the date which we had set as a deadline of April 1st. Of course, I will also be returning to Parliament during the course of between now and then to ensure that we have an in-depth and hearty discussion on the further questions that had been asked on the country packages, as well as the now draft implementation plan, whereby we will be able to have better understanding of St. Martin's input as well as the execution of such.
Meanwhile, Minister of TEAT, the Honorable Ludmila de Weaver, updated members of the press about the rollout of cruise ships returning, which she says is highly dependent on countries being vaccinated. According to the minister, the conversation is ongoing with the cruise sector. The minister also discussed the extension of business hours and said that they are in the final stages for the date of the ministerial regulation which controls the business hours.
The rollout of crews returning is highly dependent on countries being vaccinated. The conversation is ongoing with the cruise sector. They are happy to hear that we have started our vaccination plan, and I encourage the public to continue going out and doing that. One of the requirements for the restart is that the entire crew of the ships must be vaccinated before they come to shore. And the expected date that this will start will be May to June. We are still in discussions of home porting and making great progress there. The last item that I know many people are eagerly awaiting is the extension of business hours. We are in the final stages for the update of the ministerial regulation, which was controlling the business hours as well as encouraging and reminding everyone the guidelines of COVID-19 that we are also familiar with still. And as this will be in place as of next week, Friday, to go into effect, the ministerial regulation will be published this week once it is finalized, and we will be extending business hours to 4 a.m. as we start to get back more and more to normal. One thing that I would like to remind the public as well, which they have seen, is our low numbers. The lower our numbers stay, the faster we go from a higher rating, especially with the US market, and go down to a lower risk rating so that we can actually welcome more people to our shores.
And still to come, Minister of Justice brings clarity to statements made by the NAPB Union. I'll have the details to that story and much more when SXM Daily News returns.
Hi, I'm Switch.
And I'm Save.
And together we're here
to tell you about WIB, Switch, and Save mortgage offer.
Now at WIB, you can save and benefit from great specials when you decide
to bring your mortgage to WIB.
When you switch, WIB will offer you
payment of penalty fees up to 3 months interest,
payment of notary fees,
waiver of bank closing fees,
and also the lowest interest rate.
Plus, you'll have the chance to win back 1 year of interest payment.
Visit any of WIB's mortgage specialists and benefit from WIB's Switch and
Hey, that's my part. And Save mortgage offer.
WIB, your partner in progress.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten. As we continue now in other news, addressing members of the press at this morning's virtual Council of Ministers weekly press briefing, Minister of Justice, the Honorable Anna E. Richardson, gave an immigration update on the upgrading of the telephone system. The minister also addressed the traffic situation at the schools in St. Peter's, which she has noticed has become very challenging, and said that the KPSM are looking into different options in an effort to try and alleviate the situation.
The Immigration Management Team would like to hereby inform the public that due to the upgrading of the phone systems, it will be a bit difficult to contact the department via telephone lines. As an alternative form of communication, however, management is hereby asking and encouraging everyone from this point forward to please use the following email address: immigration@sintmaarten.gov.org. So immigration@stmartin with SINT, gov.org, to make contact with the department rather than calling. In addition, the management team advises that newly updated residence application forms have been uploaded to the St. Martin Gov website and or to the Ministry of Justice.sx website. We thank you kindly for your understanding and cooperation as we look forward to continuously improving the services we provide. Coming out of KPSM, the police department has recognized that over the last few days since the schools have resumed in-class session, the traffic situation in the vicinity of the school district of St. Peter's and South Reward has become a challenge. The police force are looking into different options in an effort to try and alleviate this situation. Preliminary research, however, shows that drivers' behavior is one of the major contributors to traffic congestion. In short, the police will be reallocating extra manpower to the area and working along with partners and schools during the peak hours with hope of creating a smoother flow of traffic. At the same time, they are requesting that drivers and bus drivers, parents who are driving their children to school to please abide by the traffic rules when it comes to picking up and dropping off your children. Avoid stopping in the middle of the road to walk your students or your children into the school. They're asking you to please pull over and allow the students to cross the street.
And now in news taken out of the police blotter, the prosecutor's office issued a warrant for the arrest of a suspect with the initials RFJC, 16 years of age, for his involvement in an armed robbery that took place in St. Peter's back in December of 2020. During the incident, the victim was robbed of his possessions. On Monday, March the 8th, the detectives were able to arrest RFJC at his home without incident. The minor suspect was later brought to the police station in Phillipsburg, where he was questioned. After being questioned by the members of the Special Unit Robbery, the suspect was transported to the Miss Lally Center, where he is being held pending further investigation. The police have noted in recent years that minors are involved in some serious criminal activities on the island. We've got to make sure that the young juvenile offenders understand that there are consequences for their actions, and that they also must understand and anticipate that fair punishment for their actions is expected, according to the police department. And turning now to other news, Minister of Health, speaking at the Council of Ministers' weekly press briefing earlier today, gave an update on the COVID-19 testing as well as the local COVID-19 update. The health minister also elucidated on other health-related items such as the COVID-19 vaccinations.
As of March 9, 2076, persons had a laboratory-confirmed COVID-19 infection positive test. To date, there have been 2,031 persons that have recovered from the COVID-19 and 27 persons have passed away, unfortunately. There are currently 18 cases that are being actively monitored by CPS. COVID testing. This is a reminder to the public that the CPS drive-through testing is still open. However, due to the low testing volumes, the time has been adjusted. Anyone who experiences flu-like symptoms is encouraged to come to the drive-thru on Monday, Friday from the hours 8:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock. Weekend testing will remain by appointment only. I commend the public for helping us keeping our COVID cases low, and do go and get yourselves tested. COVID-19 vaccination. As of March 9, over 7,000 have registered to receive the vaccine. Up to yesterday afternoon, there were about 2,498 persons vaccinated, wherefrom 456 were vaccinated yesterday. The vaccination team is looking to reach the 4,000 vaccine administered by next week so that we will receive the next batch of vaccines from the Netherlands, as was discussed yesterday during the fourth country meeting. Collectively, we need to work towards increasing this number. If you are unsure about the vaccine, discuss it with your family doctor. As a reminder, all persons are encouraged to register for the vaccine. Once you are registered, you will be invited by appointment based on the priority group in which you fall. This means that it will be more effectively for both you and the organization. Vaccination has already started for healthcare workers, persons 60 years and older, persons under 60 with certain underlying medical conditions. I also want to point out that there are now 2 vaccination locations, one at CPS Vineyard Building and the second at Bel Air Community Center. CPS will continue to engage with the community on any questions or concerns about the vaccination. CPS can be contacted through the 914 number. In effort to reduce further spread of virus, wear a mask, practice 2 meter social distancing, sanitize and wash your hands frequently, and be cautious of large gatherings while we are working to get the percentage of immune system in our community through vaccination. If you are experiencing flu-like symptoms, stay at home and call your family doctor.
And turning now to other news, Minister of Justice, the Honorable Anna Richardson, took note of an article that was published by the police union, the NAPB, on March the 4th, 2021, and has responded. The press release reads as follows: that after a decade of not having a function book in place for the Ministry of Justice, a project organization comprising of a steering committee and a work group was installed on September the 4th, 2021. On December the 22nd, 2020, just 3 months after the installation of the work group, the Ministry of Justice function book consisting of all 9 departments was handed over to the Committee of Civil Servants Unions, CCSU, for their review and advice. As required by law, consultations of such sort must be held with the CCSU. The CCSU was given 6 weeks to render their advice. However, on January the 28th, 2021, a letter was sent by the chairman of the CCSU, Mr. Raphael Boseman, requesting a 4-week extension. Minister Richardson granted the requested extension, giving the CCSU additional time to review and render an advice to the work group by or before March the 1st, 2021. The advice from the CCSU has been since delivered to the work group and is currently being reviewed. A response will be given to the CCSU concerning the advice that was rendered and the relevant changes that will be made where and if necessary. Where it relates to the retracting of the function book of the police force in which the Border Protection and Mobile Control Unit was a part of and signed by ministerial decree in 2019 by former Minister of Justice, Minister Van Hugh C. de Wever, it must be explicitly known that the function book being referenced to received a negative advice by the Council of Advice for various reasons and as such cannot remain in place and needs to be replaced. In addition, the Mobile Unit and Border Protection Division were removed from under the management of the Police Force of St. Martin, KPSM, and placed under the leadership of the Immigration and Border Protection Services, IBP, as having them under KPSM conflicted with the LIOL and the organizational decree. Where it relates to collective bargaining, that is a right in general, not the right of a specific union. International Labor Organization, ILO treaties in general are not very specific in their application. The right of collective bargaining for public servants on St. Martin is regulated in Article 106 of the Constitution of St. Martin, which orders the legal position and the rules of participation for civil servants, which is to be regulated by national ordinance and is referred to as the LMA. There are rules on how unions need to apply for membership of the CCSU and what criteria must be met to be admitted as members. It also lists which specific subjects the CCSU has the right of consent to, and that all other matters, the right of advice. The right of collective bargaining is therefore limited to the package for which CCSU has the right of consent. NAPB did not meet the criteria to become a member of the CCSU, and as such, they are not a part of it. In addition, where it relates to the function book for the Ministry of Justice, the CCSU does not have the right of consent, but rather to render advice. The Ministers of Justice and General Affairs are always willing to meet with the NAPB as a union representative if they wish to bring across some concerns of their members. However, the ministers do not acknowledge the right of collective bargaining of NAPB with the government regarding any employee issue. And now turning to our weather forecast for March the 10th, 2021. The Atlantic high pressure ridge is generating brisk winds across the region. Meanwhile, moisture transported across the local area will trigger brief showers. Marine conditions are forecast to remain above normal, with seas peaking up to 10 feet today. A small craft advisory will remain in effect for St. Martin. Small craft operators and sea bathers should continue exercising caution. So the outlook through Friday midday, partly cloudy and breezy, becoming cloudy at times with brief isolated showers. Now, let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, I will be right back with the local CPS COVID-19 update. Stay tuned.
The innovative Banco Matico contactless smart card. Your Banco Matico smart card is now equipped with a contactless feature for payments, so get ready to tap and go. Contactless payments are fast, easy, secure, and accepted worldwide at all Maestro-enabled contactless terminals. Tap for transactions equivalent to or less than 100 NAF, or the US dollar equivalent. You will receive notifications via email anytime you tap. Tap, tap, and pay fast with WIB. For more information, visit our website at wib-bank.net. Tap and go with your partner in progress.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News. And now in this local COVID-19 update, as of March 9th, there were 2 persons who tested positive for COVID-19. However, 3 persons have recovered, bringing the total active cases to 18. The total number of confirmed cases is now 2,076. The Collective Prevention Services, CPS, are monitoring 17 people in home isolation. 1 patient is hospitalized at the St. Martin Medical Center currently. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 remains at 27. The number of people recovered since the first case surfaced on St. Martin has increased to 2,031. 23 people are in quarantine based on contact tracing investigations carried out by CPS. The Ministry of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, VSA, the Airport Health Team, in collaboration with Healthcare Laboratories St. Martin, HCLS, have tested 2,547 travelers arriving at the Princess Juliana International Airport, while CPS has tested 21,103 people throughout the community. As the numbers continue to fluctuate, CPS will continue to actively execute its contact tracing measures. The Minister of Health is reminding all to please remain vigilant when in public, continue to wear a mask when in public, continue to practice a 2-meter social distancing, and sanitize and wash your hands frequently, and remain cautious of large gatherings. And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, NVGEBE is informing the general public that electricity supply to Beacon Hill, which includes White Sands Road, Beacon Hill Road, Sea Urchin Road, Beachcomber Drive, Staghorn Coral Road, and the surrounding areas, will be interrupted on Tuesday, March the 16th, 2021, from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m., and in the Coopercoy area, which includes Jordan Road, Jordan Drive, University Drive, Jordan Village, La Bodega, Barcode SXM, F&M Spa, Next Level, In and Out, BB's, Fat Tony's, Tonghuen Supermarket, Natural Cafe, Coopercoy Real Estate, and surrounding areas. Interruption will be on Thursday, March the 18th, 2021, from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. These outages will allow GEBE to carry out the necessary maintenance to their distribution system. And they apologize for the inconvenience caused by this interruption, and they thank you for your understanding as they continue to improve their service to the community of St. Martin. And with that, everyone, it brings us to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening. I am Valerie from Putin, thanking you so much for joining me. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you so much for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.